Magma intrusion, imminent volcanic eruption due to the emergence of a dike into presumably shallow depths between the coordinates marked on screen. This intrusion appears to have been underway since at least September 27, 2024, and in the time since has not only generated 5 magnitude 4 range earthquakes, but also allegedly created new geysers and hot springs, formed large cracks in the ground, and damaged a nearby railroad due to the amount of ground displacement which has already occurred. Part of this lack of coverage by major news outlets or discussion by the government of Ethiopia likely relates to other significant problems currently ongoing in the country. Nevertheless, I am saying this to potentially save lives. While I do not have much to go off of since I am not physically in Ethiopia or have any people there, satellite INSAR data seems to uplift, and magma dike suggest that between a 14.2 and 21 km long dike of magma has developed since September 27, with 3 possible rough outlines of the magma dike marked on screen. This dike location could be inaccurate by as much as 2 kilometers, so take their location with a grain of salt. While I do not have the power or authority to order evacuations, I would personally opinion and analysis recommend that everyone in a 15-kilometer radius between these 2 sets of coordinates and the line between them immediately evacuate. Yes, I could be wrong here, but I simply cannot risk the chance that I am right, hence why I am posting this video. Before I even wrote this script, I reached out to the Ethiopian Embassy in the United States, the U.S. Geological Survey, and the Ethiopian government, telling them of my findings. I do not believe the current intrusion to be related to the nearby Fentale or Dufan volcanoes, although due to the theoretically possible link with these systems, I have personally marked them as an alert of yellow when in reality their official alert levels are still green. Instead, I interpret the ongoing intrusion East African rift of magma, which I must stress we don't know the current volume or depth of, appears to be related to the general East African rift. The East African Rift is a 25-million-year-old zone where through 4 segments the Nubian Plate is separating from the Somali Plate at a rate of 5 to 7 millimeters a year. In other words, after 1 million years these regions will have spread apart by 6 kilometers or 3.73 miles. However, this is not occurring along a singular line, but rather a zone of weakness known as a rift valley, which contains numerous smaller rifts which have left behind scars in the landscape. Due to how thin the crust is here, it allows for hot material in the mantle to intrude into it through paths of least resistance, creating magmatic dike intrusions which occasionally reach the surface and erupt, forming a chain of volcanoes. This zone contains approximately 90 such active or potentially active volcanoes, among which in the eastern segment 2, Erda Ale and Ol Doinyo Lengai are currently erupting. Most of these are basaltic, producing small to medium-sized fissure eruptions reminiscent of Iceland's Reykjanes volcano, and yet, a few systems such as Fentale are largely rhyolitic, with the capability for some of the planet's largest explosive eruptions, involving widespread ashfall and pyroclastic flows. Magma composition. Regarding the current intrusion, I do not like the possible scenario that it could be rhyolitic. This area north of Fentale has seen multiple similar intrusions occur during the last 50 years, like in 1981, which also generated surface cracks, 1989, and 2015, but by far the current intrusion is the strongest and longest among them. And, while 3 prior dikes failed to reach the surface and produce an eruption, the 2015 dike was studied in detail and found the following. The dike has a viscosity consistent with rhyolite magma, specifically at 5 to 8 kilometers depth. While most magmatic intrusions fail to reach the surface, meaning this is the most likely outcome given the current situation, this is still quite concerning. Please, share this video wide so the people and government of Ethiopia can learn about and monitor this development. Stay safe everyone.